How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
I was only 2 years old. Me own pap left me. I was just a mere infant. Me own pap ditches me. I'm a very tolerant man, except when it comes to holding a grudge. I never thought I'd forgive me, Paps, but about 7 years ago, I shipped out on this boat, the Gloomy Gust. Oh, there's a boat. Yeah. Just off the coast of Guam. But breaks up in this typhoon. I'm stuck on this raft for 45 days without food or water. But after all this time on this raft, this visitation comes to me. Looks just like me mother, rest her soul. And it says, your pap is still alive.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is the Buena Vista Boys. We are here to cover all of the movies, the live-action Disney movies that were distributed through Buena Vista Distribution, or at least the really cool ones. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe eventually we'll get to them all. But for now, we're picking and choosing, right? This is our third episode in season 2, and this is probably... I'm not going to disparage any of the work we've done because I personally think it's been great work. We've done a lot of good stuff. All of our past season, all of those were great shows.
Yeah.
The movies weren't maybe necessarily. However, the shows that we did amazing. But this movie I have been excited for like no other we've done in the past. Yeah. I love this movie so much. It is the 1980 I don't even want to call it a classic. Maybe it's a cult classic. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say at best.
Which is cult classic is really just like a kind way of like saying someone, at least you're funny, you know? But it's the 1980 cult classic Popeye the Sailor Man, Robin Williams' first flick. I remember watching this movie on VHS because my mom recorded it off of the friggin' Disney Channel or whatever it was. I wore this thing out, man. I loved it. I absolutely loved this movie, and I hadn't seen it in forever, and I was very, very excited to get back into it. And I got to say, my love for it has not diminished at all. In fact, I found myself watching this movie smiling. I don't do that. Goodness. I don't do that for anything, man.
Yeah, I feel like we are coming at this from very opposite ends today.
I love it. Okay, good, man.
Like, it was really funny. Like the lead up to this, because you were like, I'm going to watch this, and this movie is a warm hug. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, yeah, I've been sweating, just dreading having to relive the horror that was this movie for me as a kid.
Well, I hope that maybe this show can change your mind.
Yeah, no,
can maybe turn it around a little bit.
Yeah, I put in a big snoot of dancing dust. And,
nice.
I watched this movie, and now I feel like I'm much more in tune with its vibrations.
Okay, good. See, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear you're getting in the mood, man.
I would say that I respect it more than I did. Like, as a movie, watching it, I am still not as nearly as entertained as you are. But then digging into what it took to make the movie and sort of looking at it deeper and deeper, it's like I have a respect for it, even if I don't totally appreciate the outcome.
That's fair, dude.
Best
That's
I can
totally
give you.
Fair. That's all right, man. That's all I need. That's all I need. Well, let's get into it, Matt. Let's get into Popeye here.
Absolutely.
In the sleepy town of Sweet Haven lurks an evil so pure it's given a name, Commodore. But the evil has a secret, one that has chased it across oceans and decades, all to call out its true name, Dad. We open the movie on a stormy sky. Panning down, we spot a lone rowboat struggling in the choppy waters as lightning flashes around it. And I loved so when the lightning flashes, the logo comes up for Popeye, right?
Yes.
And the in sync color changes of the Popeye logo shifting color when the lightning the thunder kind of reverberates.
Yeah.
Very cute, very clever. You already kind of know you're in for some sort of goofiness.
Yeah, it was fascinating though the way they took that. because it's like, it's Popeye, right? It's high color, you know, it's a kind of a cartoon. And the first thing they do is open on lightning and sadness and cold water.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, the life of a sailor is very depressing, you know?
Yeah.
The ringing of a church bell reverberates as the boat approaches land, and we get our first look at what passes for civilization in this movie. A small neighborhood of rundown shacks somewhere between an old West town and a Victorian village.
Yeah.
Held together with nothing more than a few rusty nails and a healthy dose of grayscale. And that was interesting to me because I hadn't seen this movie in probably 20 years.
Yeah.
And I forgot how gloom it was, but the director stays on the wide shot of the village, which is very small, for a long enough time where your eyes kind of adjust. You know, sometimes in these movies where there's a lot of gray and gloom or whatever, they don't really want to show you what's going on because it's not really interesting, but
yeah,
they leave it on enough where you can get some definition, and the amount of depth you can get in a village shot that's just gray was kind of impressive to me. I was like, wow, this is actually way more contrasty than I remember.
Yeah, it was a good establishing shot. And it's impressive too when you look at it, because it's like you can feel the texture of it, you know, because it was real. And so it's like, it didn't have that flatness of a matte painting, you know, that a lot of places would have done in that shot to like build all that up.
Yeah, for sure.
It's amazing to kind of see the cartoonish quality of it, like clinging to the side of that rock. Like it all felt almost like it couldn't exist. Like it was defying gravity, how much it was built out and like out and up, you know?
Yes. Yeah,
it's really
for sure.
cool.
Yeah. Well, and what struck me in the opening is how many kind of half sunken boats were in the harbor there.
Yeah, I have a bit about that. That's
nice.
That's
good. I was hoping you would, man, because and I didn't notice it at first, but then of course my whole thing, pulling clips, I noticed more stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of the latter half of the movie takes place on some of these like derelict ships. And it was like, wow, this is kind of, it's an interesting place.
And there's
to
a
build.
line. There's a line that's really funny in Oh Sweet Haven.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you caught it, but they talk about how God must love them because they stranded them there.
Okay, nice. Well, speaking of that, I do have the Citizens beginning, the first of several musical numbers. Now, in case I didn't mention before, this is a musical. So just right up front, there's a lot of clips. I have like 17 clips or 18 clips or something like that. None of them are like terribly big or long, rather. I did cut some. So not every song is in here because it's like trying to stop talking to a stranger at the line of the DMV about how great your child is.
Yeah.
You got to pick and choose, but sometimes you got to also vomit. And, this is a vomit show for me.
And there were so many songs there are songs that got cut from the movie that ended up on the soundtrack.
Good gravy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's a little bit of Sweet Haven. Anyway, that's a little bit from the Citizens of Sweet Haven. All the while, the townsfolk are just kind of running sight gag after sight gag. Again, setting up the fact that this isn't just like a movie. This is a comic book movie. This is a movie that think of a comic book in real life. It's not even a comic book adaptation. It's just a comic book come to life. That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah, I mean, and it too. It's like they really went for it with the costuming in this movie.
Yeah.
Like in the bit that you just were showing where the guy was kicking his hat. Right after that, you see the comical baker with the gigantic baking hat and the sleeves rolled up. And
he never takes it off. Like he's in scene after scene just wearing that.
Yeah. And every character who is a thing, who is it's almost like a Sesame Street episode. Like, I am a mailman, I am never not a mailman. Yeah. I'm always a mailman. I am always a baker.
Right.
I am always the tax collector.
Yes, absolutely. There's stuff like falling through rotting bridges, chasing a hat down the street, like you were saying. And you already know this is going to be a quirky film. Its charm isn't masked by the odd directing choices or scenery chewing from the extras. Our rowboat arrives at the dock and our hero, Popeye, hops out and unleashes his massive forearms to the world. They did such a great job with these things, man. They looked, just what it is the hair. It's all the blonde hair on them. If they weren't so hairy, it would have looked weird. And you could tell, obviously, that they're fake because, like, the underarm, you can kind of see the seam of the prosthetic. But it still looked great. I don't really care, man. It looked awesome.
The hair was, like, really the icing on the cake. It was, it rode the line between, like authentic and unnerving.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're like, oh, that's a hairy man we have here, boys. As he's getting situated on land, he's approached by a strange man on a 3-wheel bike trike kind of motorcycle thing.
Yeah.
Who gives Popeye a warm welcome. And it's also here that we get to hear Robin Williams do the Popeye voice for the very first time.
You just docked?
I have.
Uh-huh. I'll be 25 cents docking tax.
What for?
Where's your sea craft?
It ain't no secret. It was me dinghy and it's under the wharf.
The shore goods?
There is.
Yeah. You're near in town, right?
Call this a town? Yeah.
Well, first of all, there's 17 cents new in town tax. Then there's 45 cents rowboat under the wharf tax and $1 leaving your junk lying around the wharf tax. So altogether, you owe the Commodore $1.87.
Who's this Commodore?
That in the nature of a question? There's a nickel question tax.
Oh, forget it. Let's see what you're up to here. Here we go.
Exact change, please. I'm an exact change tax man.
Oh, here. Here's $1. Here's a red cent. Here's a franc. Peso. Here's a guilder. Oh, sorry, I'm taking time, isn't it? Oh, there's dime. There we go. There's 1 quarter. There's a
curiosity tax.
Hey, maybe I paid me tax. Oh, tax this, tax that. Oh, I'm mad. Oh, I'm just disgustipated. Oh, you pay your taxes, you should get a cervix. Yes.
You pay your taxes, you should get a cervix. And that's the running joke through the whole thing. I mean, that's the thing in the Popeye cartoons, right? He can't pronounce everything. He says disgustipated in that right before that. Cervix instead of service. And it also kind of like goes along with Robin Williams acting in his kind of bit is to kind of mumble these one-liners. And the fact that he can warp them into fitting with Popeye, because I imagine that's not in the script. Maybe it is. I don't know.
You really have to fine tune your ears for this movie. But if you do, there is some gold in here. They layered a lot of really good bits.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the tax man scene. And then immediately I'm like, oh, so it takes place in California. That's cool. Popeye walks around in that classic Popeye kind of pigeon-footed, bow-legged stance that he has. And he mumbles a song to himself. The townsfolk see him wandering about and they look to kind of be afraid of him. And I guess it's just like, oh, there's someone new. Let's be afraid of the new person. But I do have a little bit of his song because I liked it.
Oh, look at that. Nobody seems to care. You've got so much to bear, ma'am. Can I blow it down? That's it. Oh, it's the wind and air. Just trying to double dare. Blow it down.
Maybe,
blow it down. Snowball, what?
Look over there. There's strangers coming.
You'd rather not, huh? Oh, that's easy to see. wherever I go. Nice looking knees. It does it for me.
Bad news. Bad news.
I don't believe that. It's a lovely day. Well, it's still a perfect day, but maybe you would like to come it out again. It's a lovely place. Think I'd like to stay, but slow me down. Do you roll into town? Rubble. Slow me down. Local glum club.
Nice looking knees. So he's walking through town and all the doors are closing and he's like, the room for rent signs are flipping around and, everyone in the barbershop came out to do the barbershop quartet version,
the local glum club is one of the better jokes.
Yeah. So Popeye stumbles up to a house looking for a room to rent from a weird and quirky old lady. And on the side of the mailbox is the name of The Oils, Oyls. So, of course, this is Olive Oil's house. Now, I suggest before you move on, like if you're watching along for some reason, I don't know, before you watch this movie, really, really turn on the subtitles. I cannot emphasize that enough to you because like Matt said, they do layer a lot of jokes in here and we'll get to it in the second half, but Robin Williams is kind of mush-mouthed. Yeah. And the ADR is kind of odd. And so you can't understand some of what he's saying. It's like if you're not used to watching British TV shows and you know what I mean? It's kind of like that, man. Or like whenever they go up to Scotland or whatever, you're like, what the heck is going on here? So definitely really turn on the subtitles. Robin Williams, he gives a very neat performance as Popeye, but classic to the character. He has that kind of mumbled mush mouth thing and he talks under his breath a lot and you miss some really cute jokes. Like when he reads the mailbox and he goes, the oils, that explains a lot. She's down a quart. Because the Olive Oil's mom's kind of being a weirdo.
And it's like, this is the moment because everything up until this has almost been like, been similar to Pete's Dragon or any kind of like normal musical. And this for me was interesting because this is where when he kind of crosses into the house and there's more characters to interact with, it started feeling very much like a play. It's almost shot like a play. The dialogue is fast like a play. Like this feels like a Russian play that they redid into English, like because of the back and forth kind of nature of everything.
Oh, I'm classically up on my Russian plays.
Sorry. Especially like when we get to the dinner scene and whatnot, but it's like this movie begins feeling more like a play than a movie, especially in these tight scenes in the house. Yeah. And it's kind of interesting. The dynamic shifts a little bit.
I was thinking more like read more like a Yugoslavian want ad, but that's me. You Russian play, whatever. It's inside the house that we get introduced to Olive Oil, played by, of course, Miss Shelly Duval, and she does a great job. It's I don't know. Again, this is me fawning over everybody in this movie, but the way that she brings the Olive Oil character from the cartoon to the movie, I mean, she's classic for it. She's great.
Yeah, and she was apparently called Olive Oil as a child.
Yeah, because she's tall and has no meat on her at all.
Yeah.
She descends the staircase in her house, complaining about how all of her hats are so ugly, and they're too ugly to get engaged to Bluto in. Now, Olive's mom asks her to show Popeye the room that they have for rent, and then the characters finally meet for the first time.
If we find that out, we find out everything.
There's a stranger in...
Oh, I can't get engaged. You'll have to tell Pluto I can't. We'll have to cancel the party tomorrow night. It's not my fault that it's so ugly. What are you doing listening in on a private conversation between me and my mother? I have a good mind to have my father call a policeman. Olive, will you show Mr.
Popeye.
Mr. I the spare room?
Just Popeye.
Go upstairs, Mr. I. Olive will show you the room.
Thanks. Stumbled on some asylum here. Show me a room. Show me some courtesy. It might be nice.
I don't see why I have to do anything on the day before my engagement party when nothing's ready, especially me. And what kind of name is that anyway? Popeye. Pretty strange.
What kind of name is Olive Oil? Sounds like some kind of lubricants.
Mr. I. Later that evening, dinner is served. Popeye cleans up a bit and heads downstairs into the chaos of this weird family unit. We see Wimpy, the hamburger-loving, bowler hat-wearing dude, her brother, Castor, Olive's dad and mom, and a couple other people. Olive is showing her pampered side, complaining about everything and nothing kind of all at the same time, which I found really annoying, but almost in an entertaining way.
I want a tall glass, a slender glass.
I'm agreeing with you. Well, who told you to agree with me?
God, yeah. Like, amazingly, like it's like disagreeable kung fu, you know?
Yes. Yeah. So the dinner breaks up and Olive spills it that she's always have to break her engagement off with the sweetest, most humble man, Bluto, because he's rich and everyone always takes advantage of him. So she's like protecting him in some weird way, but you know, that's not really the case because she's very indecisive anyways. As she storms off, Popeye, who hasn't had a bit of food offered to him at all, mutters, "Well, it's never good to be too full, I guess." He's like the forever optimist, right?
Yeah.
We cut over to the bay that we saw Popeye arrive in, and we focus on a dirty tugboat looking thing. I don't know. I'm not a sailor. A hulking mass is breathing through his nose very loudly as he emerges from the cabin to look over the town. We see the boat's name, Vile Body. And it really is. He climbs to the top of his boat and he shouts that it's curfew, lights out, and the whole town goes dark, except for Popeye's room. He's up there chilling in his hammock, talking to a picture frame. And he's calling it Papa. And he's saying, Papa, we'll be together soon. 30 years apart isn't that long. And he kisses the picture. And then he turns over and kind of props it up on his bed frame. And we finally get to see the picture, which is literally just the words, "Me Papa," and not a photo at all, which was very cute. I loved it. It's we got a few things here. We got motivation for Popeye's backstory. We got motivation for the plot. And it's just a really well written scene for a film like this, because you have what I presume to be Bluto, which was the guy yelling the curfew. We don't know yet, but you know, it is Bluto. He's controlling the curfew of the town. He's being a meanerson. The whole town is afraid of new people. They're afraid of Popeye just because he's new, but we finally get to see Popeye's personality. And I don't know, it's just a very sweet and kind contrast to a little bit of kindness coming into this town ruled by mean people. Now
I'm starting to really like this movie. Like as we're discussing it, I'm actually starting to really appreciate it a little bit more.
I knew you would, man. This is my goal. This is my goal for the show, man.
You're winning me over.
To find Matt's heart. Morning arises and we have the townspeople performing yet more acrobatics. And I wonder why we have all these gags in here. Is it because it's based on a cartoon and we need some of that classic 1950s cartoon energy? Or are they like circus people? Like what's going on here? Anyway, the citizens begin their day. They bless us with yet another song.
Everything is food, food, food. Everything is food to go. Everything is food for thought. Everything you can eat is dough. It is food. Everything is food. Everything is meat, meat, meat. Careful what you put on your feet. Once it lived on an Eddie mule. Now it walks along with you. It could be food. Everything is food.
I would gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
He would gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Everything is chow, chow, chow. Everything is food to go now. Everything is fast food chains.
What I found interesting was like, which I didn't necessarily understand at first, but you know, having watched it by now once. So right here it says, try our Ox Heart Muscle Builder Special.
Yeah.
Which is the boxer guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he's like in the crowd right here. He gets his soup mopped up. And I'm like, well, so he's a local. I'll talk about it on the show.
Yeah,
I'll leave it in, but like, I don't understand because there he is. So I don't get why he comes sailing in on the boxing thing. I don't understand.
See, dude, that didn't make any sense to me either, because you see him and his mother multiple times.
Right.
Like that actress Linda Hunt is his mother. And then later it's like he comes in on the sailing arena and you're like, what? Why is this happening today? Like, what's so special about him fighting somebody today for $15?
And why do they have it's the whole
Where did the
thing
arena come from?
The whole thing is weird, man. In my mind, the way I have to justify that is he goes up and down the coast.
Yeah.
Doing it, but this is just the time where he's home.
Yeah, he's like mid training right now.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Anyway, the song ends in the diner where Popeye is telling Wimpy all about how his dad left him when he was 2 and he's on a mission to find him. Some of the locals overhear the sob story and start giving Popeye the business. And as you can imagine, this doesn't end well for them, and Popeye beats them all to hell. Like, he just annihilates all these people, man. And they look like big yoked, kind of dock workers, right? Like longshoremen or something like that.
Yeah. Can I say that this scene went about 4 minutes too long, like for me. Like,
yes.
When they were grabbing the townspeople and making them apologize to Popeye, I nearly fell asleep. I was like, okay, all right, let's tighten it up, folks. Come on.
Yeah, a little bit. This movie comes in at a cool 1 minute 53 or 1 hour 53, and it easily could have been shaved to like 140, 145, and still maybe had room, but still.
And they did when they released it other places outside of America, they did shave it down.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I can't imagine.
Sick 95 minutes.
Oh, that's the heart of the movie, baby.
I know.
All right. Well,
I wish I'd watched.
God. Nighttime arrives and the whole town is gathered in Olive Oil's house for the big engagement party. The one that she kept picking out ugly hats for.
Yeah.
Popeye, feeling rejected by the town, is out wandering the streets, while Bluto is on the streets as well, looking for some flowers to steal for Olive. Meanwhile, Olive and her friends are upstairs in Olive's room, helping her get ready for the party. And of course, we have another song, which I like this song. This is one of the songs I remember, so it's here now.
Ugly.
Bluto's ugly, all right.
Bluto's distinguished.
He's distinguished, all right.
Distinguishedly ugly. Bluto's special.
Oh, he's special, all right. Especially ugly.
He's tall, good looking, and he's large. He's large. Large. Tall. Large.
Good evening, Captain Pluto.
And he's mine. Not a mandolin. Oh no. He's an accordion. I'll have to squeeze him each night to keep him warm. He's virile, and he's strong.
It's viral. And so I wonder, and I used to just think, okay, when I'm watching this as a kid, he's Bluto's a large guy or whatever. But is the whole song a double entendre about how he's just like large in the bedroom area of his pants?
Great question.
Because it's like, oh, I have to hold him. So, and that does kind of like come back later on when he's like sleeping. He's like sucking his thumb or whatever. She's like, I have to hold him tight, blah, blah, blah. And he's virile and he's large, but he's like dumb and,
Yeah.
ugly.
I mean, it possibly could be. I mean, the whole scene itself is sort of a double entendre in the fact that she is saying how much she loves him and how much she has to do things for him, while at the same time packing a bag to sneak away.
Yes, that's the thing that you don't really notice until later on. So throughout the whole song, she's secretly packing a hidden suitcase while her pals are singing along, and she bails. It's
pretty clever. It's a pretty clever scene, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess I haven't thought much about the song.
And he's almost large. Okay, oil.
I know, but I almost took it like the fact that he's a big fella is the only trait she can think of about him. He's not kind. He's not interesting. He's not well accomplished. He's a big fella. He's a bigger fella. That's it.
You and I are talking the same language. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Anyway, she sneaks out of the house alone with her, little suitcase that she secretly packed, and she bumps into Popeye, who is nothing but nice to her, and she's just kind of mean and pushy to him. And she's like, you start to not like Olive Oil because Popeye's so sweet. We cut back and forth between Bluto sitting in Olive's sitting room or whatever in her house, growing ever more frustrated with having to wait for her to come downstairs, with her and Popeye sort of bonding, I suppose, kind of just walking along the wharf talking.
Yeah.
She lets up on him a little bit, and he starts to tell her about his pappy, and she has the good idea. Well, let's sit down and wait for him to show up. He's like, okay, then. Because Popeye goes, yeah, I'm in town looking for my pappy. And she's like, well, let's wait for him. And then they sit down, and like, that's not okay. Popeye starts telling her about his childhood, and there's some funny jokes in here where he's like, he used to bounce me on me knee, but he wouldn't be there when I come down or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
I like that bit. That was a good one.
It was cute. Now, while this bonding is happening, a figure cloaked in rags sneaks behind them and swaps Olive's basket with, so she had like a suitcase and then a basket. I don't know what's in the basket. So she had a basket, like a wicker basket. So this person swaps that out with an identical one. Now, Papa picks it up and they walk away, and somehow she clocks this. She turns around and she goes, that's not my basket. Someone's painted that basket to look like my basket. Well, let's open it up. So they open it up and they find a baby.
Yeah.
Now, this is a very cute baby. I don't mind saying. Usually babies are not cute at all, except for mine. My baby was adorable.
Yes, as were mine.
No, my baby was adorable.
No, my baby.
No, but this baby is the cutest baby.
Yeah.
This particular baby has a note pinned to it telling the, quote, one-eyed sailor to care for this baby as only a mother could. Olive and Popeye cease their arguing and fawn over this brand new addition to them.
I have to say that I really like this scene because when you're watching it, you're really getting the sense of kind of the kindness and detail that Robin Williams is putting into it, because he's clearly making up lines as he's trying to read this note, as the baby's interacting with him. Like the baby takes the note and he goes, oh yeah, you go ahead and take that back. He's like it's really great because he's just flowing with whatever the baby, like the baby, he says something and the baby goes, me. And he goes, yeah, that's right. You're a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so cool.
I mean, it's definitely dad stuff, but I think it's more like his improv background. And, he was on Mork and Mindy forever too.
Yeah,
He's like used to this, but it is, I like seeing these really young pieces of actors, where you can see that common thread of a performance and that kind of special something throughout their entire career. And you go back to these moments like this, you're like, this is why, Steve Martin has a line where, he goes, people have asked me for my whole career, how do you make it in show business? And they want me to say, oh, you need to get an agent or you whatever. But he goes, I tell them every single time, I tell every person this and they don't like it. He says, be so good they can't ignore you.
Yeah.
That's how you make it. And that's Robin Williams, especially in this movie and early in his career. You see, oh yeah, he made it. Of course he made it. Because it's stuff like that.
I know. This is such a tender moment. And it's like, they could have cut it out and redone it. And I like that they didn't, because it's so real and free flowing, because you can tell they're not lines. When people are doing lines, you're like, this is a line. where he was like free flowing with it.
Yeah, I'm talking to a baby.
Very cool. Very,
yeah,
very,
it was
very
good.
real.
Yeah. So we cut back to Bluto upstairs in Olive's room, and we're sort of outside looking in at the window. And Bluto sees that Olive isn't there, and he screams her name so loud and so long, which causes the window to rattle and break, shingles to fall off the house, and it sort of echoes through the village. As Bluto goes about the house breaking things because he's so mad, and breaking people because he's so mad, he sings a lovely song which sort of excuses everything that he's doing.
I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I say. You know what I mean. Mean. You know what I mean. I'm meaner than. I mean what I say. I'm so mean, I had a dream of beating myself up. Broke my nose, I broke my hand, I wrestled myself to the ground, and then I choked myself to death and broke the choke and woke up. I mean,
I choked myself to death and I broke the choke.
Yeah.
What the hell? God, it's so good.
This was a nightmare scene. This is absolutely a nightmare to me.
So what's happening here is like Bluto's absolutely going ape shit. And he's like wrapping, standing lamps around people's necks and like throwing people through windows and breaking chairs.
Punched a door and then ripped it in half and then off its hinges.
Yeah. And the whole village is still there. Yeah. That's what I didn't understand. Everyone just still there, afraid. I guess they're frozen with fear.
Yeah.
As Bluto goes like, I'm mean.
There's one moment in this where they cut directly to the waitress's face and she's like hard chewing gum like a maniac, and she's going, who's mean, and then they cut away, then they cut back to her still hard face, and she goes do.
It's good, man.
It was unhinged.
Because, and I guess the motivation is they're forced to do this. Like they can't leave, right? So it's like, speaking of whatever,
like the Twilight Zone,
like the Twilight Zone episode with the kid where he's like, you can't leave. He's a happy boy.
It's a good life.
There you go, man. So the song ends abruptly as Popeye and Olive reach the house. Bluto sees the three standing in the doorway with the babe, right? So it's Olive, Popeye, and the baby. He squints his eyes real hard. He closes them super tight, so tight that his eyelids go white.
You hear a
like
searing noise.
Yeah. You searing noise, and then he opens them, and everything is bathed in red except the flesh tones of the three people. And this was a very cute effect because they changed the clothes. Like the clothes that Popeye and Olive and the baby had were red now, and then they just put a red filter over everything else or whatever. But like the face, it was just very clever. Loved it so much.
Yeah. Amazing sight gag.
Essentially, Bluto then beats Popeye up and down the wharf of the town, all the while telling him how much he's going to have the oils taxed.
Yeah.
Because Bluto controls the taxes in the town. And what's really hard to explain here is the kind of lifelike cartoon reactions to the violence that we see. At one point, Popeye gets uppercut by Bluto and does several backflips down the wharf, and then it turns into like a hoop. He's bent over so far backward, he rolls down the street like a tire.
Dude, you know what that reminded me of is, do you remember in the movie Hook, also Robin Williams, they had that kid named Thud, and he became a ball, a physical ball, and did that same gag.
See, there you go.
He grabbed his own legs and he became a ball, and it's a prop that looks like a boy sort of shoved into a round shape.
Oh my God.
And then rolled down this hill. And they did the same thing with Popeye. It looks like but they made a long hoop prop.
Yes. Yeah. They made a long, it looks pretty good. I mean, your rational brain goes, that's not a human being because you can't bend over backwards like that and do that. But it looks pretty good nonetheless.
Yeah, it does.
Another thing he does, he gets spun like a drill and drills through the dock into the water below. And I will say it might be better of the sort of cartoon to IRL tries that I've seen since like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even then, some of these gags kind of beat that. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was done later, but it still doesn't look as good as these practical effects. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I thought that some of these were really cool. The fight with Bluto and Popeye, I think, is great cartoon quality.
Yeah, I think so too. So the next morning, the tax man is at the Oils house, taxing her poor family into oblivion. Like he has a list of things that he's just taxing them for. And true to his word, Bluto is making them suffer for Olive's assumed transgressions with Popeye. Meanwhile, doing as little as possible to dispel these rumors, Olive and Popeye are sitting away from the house on a rock next to the water, playing with the baby. And it's here we find the baby's name.
Avast there, avast.
Watch it, you'll hurt her.
Oh, yeah, I'll let you know. Her is a him. See, it likes to smoke. So, you're just a landlubber, ain't you? That's
Oh, yeah, well, I'm a woman.
Oh, yeah, well, I am a mother. Yeah, they do that with tea. Oh, yeah. See, he wants me to. You must have an IQ about 500,000, don't you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
None of that baby talk around me son. My son's going to be a man and think, not a baby and think, isn't that right? Oh, come to Papa, me little sweet pea.
Yay.
Me little sweet pea, me little sweet pea.
Sweet pea? You're back.
Oh, yeah? I found him in Sweet Haven. That is why he's me Sweet Pea. I am calling him Sweet Pea, and that is his name. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Well, Sweet Pea's about the worst name I ever heard on a baby.
Well, what do you want me to call him? Baby oil?
Oh, God, man, I tell you. Meanwhile, a flyer is tacked up in town that offers 10 whole days tax-free, plus $15 if you can last one round in the ring with Oxblood Oxheart, who we've actually seen before. He was eating in the diner in the Everything is Food song. And there was even an advertisement on the diner wall for Oxblood's Muscle Builder or something like that.
Yeah, he looks like King Hippo from Mike Tyson's
Does look like
Punch-Out.
King Hippo, yeah. So then that's what we're kind of wondering too at some point. Like, is he local? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. But as we're looking at this, something approaches from offshore. A towering statue of a hulking man, which is Oxblood Oxheart, wearing boxing gloves attached to the front of a giant boat, clears the rocks and pulls into the harbor. Banners on the boat reading Max and Sons Square Gardens, which I thought was a very funny play on Madison Square Gardens.
Yes,
but they can't
I
say that.
thought that was really good too. The whole thing felt like Waterworld. They didn't it?
Yes,
Like when it was coming up.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, here they come. Once a year, they come around to offer, what are challengers across the land for some dirt.
For beatings in fresh water. And paper. Just paper.
These banners fly high in the breeze, and the shirt the statue has pasted on it reads Oxblood Oxheart. The whole town turns out for this fight, including Popeye, Olive, Sweet Pea, and Olive's parents close behind. So the bell rings as everybody takes their seats, and in walks the challenger for this fight, and it's Castor, Olive's brother, who, by the way, Castor Oil.
Yeah.
Anyway, naturally, this man has no real shot at beating Oxblood, but he's delusional enough to think he stands a chance. I mean, it's just a round. What is it? 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can do it.
So Wimpy is acting as the ref, and he outlines the rules, which there are no rules. And the first man to die loses. Like, okay,
so why is Wimpy even there?
Right, exactly.
There's no rules. Why does anybody even need to officiate?
Right. The bell rings and our fight starts on the world's only floating arena, is what the other banners tout. Castor does his best, but is beaten handily by Oxblood. So much so that the energy reads more like an amateur backyard wrestling match than an actual boxing match.
Yeah.
The whole time, Popeye is calling Oxblood names. Like the whole crowd's jeering, and they're rooting for Castor. And Popeye's like, whatever. He's calling him, he said he's fighting unfair. He's calling Oxblood a beached whale, which was very rude. All the classics.
This is where you really have to keep your ears open because there's some goodies in there.
And this fight comes to a head when Castor is knocked face down on the mat. Someone props his butt up in the air, and Oxblood walks back and punts this man out of the ring and into the town. Like, we don't even know where he lands. He just fires fires off, man.
Past the camera and gone.
Yeah. And that's about all the Popeye can stand. He hops down from his bench seat and then with a spring lands in the ring, already changed into his boxing gear, which is very cartoon logic. I loved it. It was like, oh, okay, there you go, man.
Yeah. Love it.
Popeye's calves, by the way, do match his forearms.
Big fellas.
Yeah. The fight goes Popeye's way for the most part until Oxblood delivers a gut punch, doubling the sailor over. We get a nice, cute medium shot as Popeye's corncob pipe, still in his mouth, of course, begins to spin around like it does in the cartoons when he's mad, you know?
Yeah.
He stands up, he pops a few to Oxblood, stun locking him, then whips out possibly the most classic punch in all of cartoon violence, the twisted wind-up fist.
I remember that from being a kid.
Yeah.
It's like one thing that stuck out. Yeah. Yeah. Because it really did like turn all the way around in the movie and everything. And then he did a great job of making that thing really spin.
Oh, it did such a good job, man. He cranks that right hook up real nice and tight and delivers a brutal knockout punch, sending Oxblood and his giant statue simultaneously to the floor.
Yeah.
The crowd goes wild. Everyone celebrates, and even Sweet Pea gets in on the action, thumping on Oxblood's stomach somehow. So Olive goes into the ring, puts him down. The amount of times this baby gets lost and put down and kind of whatever, it's
mismanaged.
Pretty wild. And so in my mind, I always thought of this as the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So we get here and I'm like, oh my God, we're already done. No, I don't even think we're an hour in yet to the movie. Like there's a lot that happens in this movie.
It's an interesting like apex moment because it's like, where do you go from here? He's now the town hero. Like what's next?
Yeah. Popeye and Olive are back at the house feeding Sweet Pea. Now it's time for another song.
Eyes, he's got your mouth.
Does it do? One day, Sweet Peas, he's gonna go to school and bust bigger kids in the mush. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Yeah.
And we'll move into a vine-covered cottage on a shady lane. And we'll garden together, and we'll play house.
I've been sailing by the 7 seas, looking for some buddies who would sail with me. Sail with me. Sail with me.
And I've been waiting for someone like you, a man who could love me and will promise to stay with me. Stay with
Anyway, you
me.
get the idea. So basically they're singing to Sweet Pea, but they're singing about one another.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that romantic tension, which I do think it was a nice thought. It was a good try, but I thought the execution was a little, first of all, it goes on too long, but like, I get it. And it was cute. And you know, if you think about it, like, okay, it's a nice way to kind of using the baby to talk to one another about hard emotions. That's not yelling. You know what I mean?
Were it me, and it wasn't, I would have pushed a scene like this farther in, maybe 30, 40 minutes farther in, because I think that would have had a bigger payoff. They would have been together longer, you know, and I understand it's a cartoon, so it's like emotions kind of lock in really fast.
Yeah.
But it's like for a movie, the pacing of them actually like sort of starting to like each other. I think if we pushed it out 20, 30 more minutes, you know, and had a few more scenes, had a little bit more buy-in, I think it would have I think this scene would have been perfect.
Yeah. Possibly I always looked at it as like Olive sort of like let Popeye in pretty fast already.
Yeah.
You know, where like just going back to the wharf scene where she's like, she stopped being rude to him where she was fleeing her party. And then suddenly it was like, oh, well, yeah, tell me about you, basically. And then that everything was like, she seemed to take to him a little bit faster. So maybe that's just her.
Yeah.
That's the way I logicked it out in my mind.
Sure.
So the next morning, Olive Oyl shows Popeye that Sweet Pea is kind of a bit of a psychic. She claims that she wasn't worried at all about Popeye's impromptu fight last night because Sweet Pea said that Popeye would be okay. Which does two things in this scene. Number one, it lets Popeye know that Olive does have feelings for him because she said she was worried until the baby reassured her. But also it gives Wimpy, who overheard the whole conversation, an idea. He asks Popeye if he can take Sweet Pea for a walk, But where he ends up going instead is something called Derby Day, which, near as I can tell, is an event in a brothel located on a half-sunken steamboat that sometimes has mechanical horse racing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it seems like a very fun place to be an adult in, for sure. This whole scene was crazy. Sweet Pea wins the first race for Wimpy, and by wins I mean that he predicts the winner of the race for Wimpy. And as he's picking the second race, we see Bluto spying on them, presumably wondering how Wimpy is winning because Wimpy has debts all over town.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he's kind of a loser, right? So enter Popeye and Olive, with Olive's parents close behind. And we see Popeye is pissed off. Like, he is very angry that Wimpy took his kid to a house of ill repute. And there's some great one-liners too. And I was going to include some of them. I'm like, we already have almost 20 clips. Where there's like a couple of the, one of the ladies there was like, oh, is that a wad of cash in your pocket? Are you just happy to see me? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on. So again, if you watch it, turn the subtitles on, man. You're going to see all these stuff. It's very funny to me. So Popeye arrives. He's pissed off. So is Olive, until she learns how much money Wimpy has won in only 2 races, which is like $120
Yeah.
She wanted to keep the good times rolling because it will help her family out with the taxes and whatnot and, you know, clothes and stuff like that. But Popeye is not interested in that. Olive tricks him into giving her the baby, and she shoots right off to place a bet on whichever horse the kid goes whistling at. You know what I mean? Because she's like, oh, what about blah, 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 blah. Sucks on lemons. And he's like, okay. He's like R2D2, man.
Yeah.
But the best part is we get another Popeye song out of the whole scene.
Sucking lemons.
What am I? Some kind of barnacle on the thing of your life?
Oh, make it snap.
Oh, ain't no doctors, but I knows that I'm losing me patience.
120 simoleons on sucking lemons.
What am I? Some kind of judge or lawyers? Maybe not, but I knows what law suits me. Careful I don't ruffle me feathers. What am I? I ain't no physicist, but I knows what matters. What am I? I'm Popeye, the sailor. And I am what I am, what I am, and I am what I am, and that's all that I am, 'cause I am what I am. You got it? I think so, yeah. And I've got a lot of muscle, and I only got one eye, and I never hurt nobody's, and I'll never tell a lie. Top to me bottoms, from the bottoms to me top. That's the way it is, till the days that I drop. What am I? I am what I am. Oh, what is tail, son? I am what I am, what I am, what I am, what I am. Yeah.
Come on, get up there.
Wondering about myself. To be or not to be, who's asking? I can open up an ocean, I can take a lot of sail, I can lose a lot of waters, and I'll never have to bail. Off the coast of Madagascar, grab the whale by the tail. What am I? What am I? I am what I am! I'm Popeye, the sailor. I'm Popeye, the sailor.
Admittedly, it's a weird song, but it's very funky, jazzy kind of thing. I loved it so much. But it's weird because he finally gets Sweet Pea back by stealing Wimpy's money that he won and throwing it on the floor. And then Olive just hands the baby back to Popeye. He does a little jig, screams he is what he is, and then he's on a boat back to shore howling while everyone else is clamoring for the few $bucks laying on the ground. It was just very like she was overcome with his masculine energy. And she's just like, oh, here's the baby back. I'm really impressed with you. You've earned your own child back. That's not even yours.
You really
in the first
stuck
place.
to your guns.
Yeah. Now, in the middle of this fray, Bluto opens his door and he points into the crowd. Sensing this, Wimpy stops and looks up at Bluto and knows that Bluto is summoning him, which I thought was a really good. It was a really good moment.
Yeah.
The next scene opens and Popeye has moved out of the oils and I think set up like a small homeless camp underneath the wharf. This is very strange. The tax man comes poking around and tries to bust Popeye's chops with a bunch of random taxes. And Popeye just says nuts to you, right? And then he kind of gently shoves the tax man away. But since he's so strong, like me, this is what happened to me.
This is your life.
The tax man stumbles. He slides down a chute and lands in the water.
Yeah.
Now this causes the entirety of the town to erupt in cheers. They grab Popeye, hoist him on their shoulders, and parade him through town as they throw confetti and streamers into the air. Like, oh yeah, the tax man's defeated. Popeye handed Sweet Pea off to a random lady, and she is passing the baby off to someone else while Popeye's being celebrated. And eventually we pick up Wimpy walking down an extra path, holding Sweet Pea, escaping the celebration and kidnapping the child, basically. And then he hands them off to Bluto, and he's paid the price of 1 hamburger for his troubles.
Should have negotiated.
Should have got 2, man. I mean, no condiments. I mean, come on, dude.
I know, no fries.
It was very odd because, confetti and streamers, like, why? Why did we just had that? We just had that at the ready.
They had that at the rip, just waiting for the day. Like
when someone pushed the guy off the bike and whatever.
Some guy had like sailed in 8 months ago. Some really good salesman. And he was like a confetti streamer salesman.
That's right. Like, well, we have it all. We might as well use it now. Honey, get the confetti. The tax man fell.
It finally happened.
Night falls and Popeye is sad, missing his boy. Olive sneaks over to him and overhears him muttering to himself. And she finally realizes that she loves him and that he loves her. And as we see Sweet Pea locked inside Bluto's boat, saying Popeye's name, we find our sailor man writing a letter to Sweet Pea. And it's also like in song form, but I didn't include it. But it's very sweet. It's very cute written. It's nice. I liked it.
Yeah.
And he rolls the note up, shoves it in a baby bottle, puts the nipple back on, and then hucks it out into sea.
Into the ocean.
Yeah, which is the only way, which is great, right? Because it's the only way Popeye knows how to mail anything is just throw it in a bottle. It'll get there somewhere,
It's a time of sea mail.
That's right. We find Bluto delivering Sweet Pea to the Commodore. At the same time, Olive finds out from Wimpy what Wimpy has done. Now, we don't see the Commodore's face immediately in this scene, but we can make a guess as to who he's related to. As he's trying to feed Sweet Pea some canned spinach by the way of his 2 massive forearms, you guys, we realize, okay, this must be Popeye's dad, right?
Yeah.
Olive and Wimpy have snuck aboard, and they overhear that Bluto has plans to bankrupt the betting parlor with Sweet Pea because Sweet Pea can guess all the numbers. And the Commodore says, I own the betting parlor. Why would I want to bankrupt it? So the Commodore is like, I don't want this kid. I hate kids. I hate everything. I don't want him here. And Bluto's like, but we can make a lot of money with him. And he's like, I don't care. The only thing I care about is my buried treasure. And he goes on to basically say he hates everything in the world, especially Bluto. He's like, I hate 100 things and you're 12 of them or something like that.
Yeah.
And in case you thought you weren't going to get another song right now, the Commodore busts this number out.
Don't dast say I ain't fair. True, I hates, but I come by me hating fair and square. Hating's me code. I will live and die by hating. Hate's done me more good than anything in the world. It's not easy being me, master of me own destiny. And I hates responsibility. It's not easy being me. Shut your lip and open your mouth. Oh, it's hard to be in charge.
Even harder being large.
But you charge when you're in charge. No, it's not easy being me.
I hate you so much.
It's a mutiny. Mutiny. It's not easy being me. Admiral of me own ship at sea. I've been scuppered.
Oh, we better tell Popeye we found him.
So basically, the Commodore is singing about how it's not easy being him because he hates everything in the world. And Bluto's like, I hate you. I'm going to wrap you. I'm going to tie you to this chair. So he ties him to a chair and like hoists him up, like, in the rafters.
The slowest way possible.
Yeah. So Olive and Wimpy see this. They leave. They go break the news to Popeye that the Commodore is, in fact, not only his real dad, but he's the one who has Sweet Pea and that Bluto works for him. And he's the one who controls all the taxes in the town. Popeye doesn't believe them. And to prove it's not true, he goes, I'm going to prove it's not true. I'm going to go to wherever he ain't. So where ain't he? And Wimpy's like, he ain't on the Commodore's boat. He's like, all right, I'm going there.
Yeah.
The town cheers as Popeye marches to the Commodore's boat, which is a partially sunken houseboat in the harbor. As he creeps down the stairs, Bluto sneaks past him with Sweet Pea in his arms with plans to use him to to find the Commodore's secret buried treasure that we just learned about 2 minutes ago. And Popeye finally comes face to face with his papa, who's tied up and hanging in that chair from the ceiling. Now, the Commodore doesn't really believe that Popeye is his son, or at least refuses to believe it. And to prove it, or refuses to admit it, rather, and to prove it, he tells Popeye to eat from a can of spinach, which, of course, Popeye doesn't. But in the end, the Commodore slips, and we finally get the Commodore to admit that they are related, where he's like, you've always been, I'm not your dad. I'm not dad to anybody. And he's like, oh, you've always never wanted to eat your spinach.
I know.
So we sort of get it. It's hard to explain. I had a really hard time trying to like boil that down to 2 sentences.
It's a good reversal. I feel it's just a classic comedy reversal.
Meanwhile, Bluto has somehow captured and tied up Olive amidst all of this. All of this. In addition to still having Sweet Pea in his arms. Now, as if there wasn't enough going on here already, Bluto sails off in his tugboat, and Popeye, the Commodore, and Olive's family, for whatever reason, all give chase in a giant floating tenement that is the Commodore's like other boat. It's very Weasley house from Harry Potter.
You know what it reminded me of is again, like when you go to like Universal Studios and they do like a water show.
Yes.
Like a water stunt show.
Yeah.
That's totally what it felt like. Because you had the people running up and down it, doing all sorts of weird stuff.
Well, yeah. And so they do like a lot of back and forth. And at one point, Popeye and the Commodore are like yapping at each other. And Olive's mom is just spinning around on one of the decks.
Yeah.
Like a whirling dervish.
It's like, what the hell am I watching right now?
Yeah. So Bluto's destination is Scab Island, which is this island way off. And we get kind of one of the better jokes here. Let me see if hopefully I caught it. Hang on.
What is it? It's a rock. It's a hard place.
Oh no. It's Scab Island. Mom.
Don't worry, Castor. Your father's with us.
Scab Island.
Haul ass! Haul ass! Haul ass! Get to your stations! Get to your battle stations!
Phooey.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Who are you think you are, Captain Abraham? I'm trying to save the olive oil and sweet peas. Olive oil? Sweet pea? What are you doing? Making a salad? I want meat treasure. You hear me? I want meat.
Oh, that's just such a good line, man. But like the first part is like a rock, a hard place.
Yes. Yeah. Dude, they've got so much traction out of the oils. So many good jokes out of that one last name.
Yes. But none of them seem forced either. That one maybe a little bit, but it was very funny.
Very good.
As our heroes catch up to Bluto on Scab Island, the Commodore goes full speed ahead and rams his tenement into Bluto's ship, breaking both ships in the process. But as the Commodore says, he only cares about his treasure and nothing else. Turns out Bluto had made a narrow escape in a rowboat, pulling the still tied up Olive behind him in like another boat, I guess. Now, back at the dock, Bluto had put her in one of those vent pipes that come out of the deck. Looks like a tuba. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. Well, she's still in that. So it's like, that's like ripped out of the deck of his ship. So her feet are like dangling in the water and she's kind of just like bobbing in the thing going, oh, doing her weirdness, which it'll become relevant in a second, but
her awkwardness.
Bluto asks Sweet Pea if the treasure is in the water and he squeaks. So Bluto goes, okay, I'm going to jump in. So he jumps in, he dives down, searches through what looks like a tiny little shipwreck, and he spies a small treasure chest. He moves 2 giant octopus tentacles aside as if they were tree branches, right? Like, oh, this is nothing. It's just an octopus. And awakens the giant octopus that's attached to the tentacles, though he doesn't really notice that.
Yeah, it was almost like I wondered at that moment, like, is this octopus even relevant? Is he set dressing?
Yeah.
Because he just kind of shoves him out of the way, like, okay, this is just a prop.
It's just a prop, yeah. It looks good, though. I will tell you, the octopus looks pretty good. Again, it looks better than what I would think it needs to look for 1980.
It certainly looks like a cartoon octopus.
The eyes, yes, it does have like big, large yellow eyes.
Yellow eyes. Yeah.
You're right. I didn't really. Yeah. So anyway, Popeye catches up and uses his pipe as a periscope like he does in the cartoons.
I do.
He flies like a torpedo, rushes over to Bluto and tells him he can't win.
Bluto!
Hey, that's my treasure, you rat!
What goes down must come up. Bluto!
You're in trouble now.
Even though you're larger than me, you can't win, because you're bad, and the good always wins over the bad.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And Popeye just gets hooked into oblivion. He just gets a right hook right in the jaw and goes underneath the water, and a lot of stuff happens. Honestly, this whole scene is super chaotic. There's a ton of stuff that happens, but basically what's going on is Popeye and Bluto are fighting. Now they have swords somehow. They're no longer fisticuffing. They're fighting with swords. They're fighting in the water proper. The Commodore has rescued both Sweet Pea and the treasure chest. And while the two men are fighting, the Commodore is showing Sweet Pea what's inside the treasure chest. So this is the treasure this is all he cares about. He's been protective of it forever. This is what Bluto was trying to get because Bluto didn't know what was in it. Yeah. He opens the thing and he pulls out baby shoes, presumably Popeye's baby shoes, right? A little toy horn and a picture frame with the words "me son" written on it, like Popeye had of his papa. Like you were saying, they're bringing that full circle. They both didn't have pictures of each other.
Goddamn, that is such a good, backup joke. Like when you open it up and he brings that out.
Yeah.
That is because they waited so long for the payoff. It was worth it.
It was good, dude. Well, and this is the thing. They didn't even need to do that. If he didn't have that in there, the other me papa joke still would have been funny.
Sure.
But this is not only funny, but it's also showing how much the Commodore missed Popeye, because this is the most treasured thing in his life, is a picture of his son. That's not even a picture, right? It's like almost like a Naked Gun joke.
It does feel like a Zucker Brothers.
Yeah. So on top of all of this craziness that's going on, this octopus that we haven't seen in a couple of minutes finds Olive's feet dangling in the water, right? And these tentacles come up through the tube and she's like, whoa, whoa. And then they drag her into the water as well. So we have this treasure stuff. The Commodore is now yelling at Popeye that if only he'd eaten his spinach as a baby, he wouldn't be losing this fight. And Popeye's like, I'm not going to lose. Bluto is beating on Popeye, wrapping him in a big chain. Olive is being attacked by a giant octopus, and Olive's family is shouting nonsense from the rocks. I don't even know what they were saying. They could have been talking sim language. I don't really know.
Do you remember that scene from Ed Wood where he's like, hey, we can't get the motor on the octopus to work. And he goes, just flail your arms around.
I hold every sort of like practical octopus prop to that standard.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't look like that, then it's good. I didn't think it looked too bad. I mean, you could,
I think it's funny. And when I was watching this, I watched this entire thing and I'm like, okay, this made it to screen and went into theaters.
Yeah.
But they pulled the octopus scene from the Goonies,
which I've seen. I saw that the other day and it looked terrible.
It did look terrible, but I'm like, I feel like they both could have shared some screen time. Like, I mean, yeah, he's like, he puts a boombox into the octopus's mouth, but it's like, I'm looking at both of them and I'm thinking to myself, like, I think if they had kept it, like they could have just pointed to Popeye and said, hey, if these guys are doing it, we are too.
Well, it's true, man. Yeah. Let's see. The Commodore throws a can of spinach to Popeye saying, here, eat the spinach, but he cracks him right on the noggin. Popeye refuses to eat it. He's like, I don't want to eat this spinach. It's disgusting. And Bluto goes, oh yeah, you hate this in a very Brer Rabbit moment. Yeah. You hate this, huh? Well, guess what I'm going to make you eat. And he shoves it down Popeye's throat, and it's real spinach, and it looks disgusting, and it goes all of it right into Robin Williams' mouth, and it looks gross. And then he sends him to the bottom of the sea, like he shoves the spinach in his mouth, and then lets him go, and the chain drags him down underneath the water.
Yep.
And we think, guys, the hero is done for. Clearly, Bluto won, right? No. Bluto turns around to claim his treasure, but from the great churning seas behind him comes the giant fist of Popeye. Bluto turns around, the fist comes up, Bluto gets knocked back, and now it's the octopus's turn because the octopus is still dealing with olive oil. So like a torpedo, he shoots towards the octopus, colliding with it, and then it like lessens its grip from olive oil so he can rescue olive oil. Once she's free, he goes back to the octopus and he starts hitting it with that 1-2 combination, gets a few jabs in there, and then the old wind up fist punch comes out.
Yep.
And he winds that sucker up and he connects with the animal's head and launches it out of the water and deep into the horizon, which is very cute. And we see Bluto swimming away, now dressed in yellow clothes. Again, classic
I love
cartoon.
that sight gag.
It was good.
Because was it Castor Oil says something, or maybe it's Wimpy, but he goes, "Hey, he's turned yellow."
The whole film wraps up with the song. Now it's Popeye and the heroes singing Popeye the Sailor Man song. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the second verse of this song. Now, I don't know if it's like really included in the original song lyrics or whatever, but I've never heard these before in my entire life. And we've all heard the classic Popeye the Sailor Man, right? We know the first part, right? I'm strong to the finish because I eat my spinach, right? Yeah. But this next verse, I had no idea. And it's
I'm excited. I can't wait to hear this.
It's hard to hear. So again, subtitles.
He's strong to the finish, cause he eats his spinach. He's Popeye the Sailor Man.
I'm one tough gazookas that hates all palookas, that ain't on the up and square. I biffs them and buffs them and always outroughs them, and none of them gets nowhere. If anyone dances to risk me fisk, it's buff and it's wham, understands. So keep good behavior, that's your one lifesaver with Popeye the Sailor Man.
He's Popeye the Sailor Man.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my favorite movie in the entire universe at this point right now. Up there with The Love Guru and The Cable Guy is Popeye the Sailor Man. And by the way, at the end, when the credits are rolling, it doesn't fade to black. It's literally a continuous shot of Bluto swimming out into the ocean. And I felt so bad for whatever actor they got to do that, because it's like 5 minutes of just swimming into the ocean.
Yeah, I'm assuming they just paid some sort of Olympic, like ex-Olympic gold medalist or something.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, that's it, everybody. We are going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and I can't wait to hear all the nonsense that Matt has dug up about this movie, because as you can probably guess, there was a lot of it. So stay tuned, everyone. It's the Buena Vista Boys. We'll be right back.
What is that glop you're eating?
It's a soup burger. These are difficult times.
What?
It's a soup burger. Burgers can't be choosers.
What?
It's a soup burger.
All right, thanks for sticking around, everybody. All right, Matt, tell us a little bit about the backstory of this fine film that should definitely see a Criterion Collection release sometime soon.
I would like to see justice for that octopus. You know, if they wanted to George Lucas that and kind of go back and fix that, I would be fine with it.
All right, that's fair.
I will say, again, I want to preface two things. One, after kind of looking up some information about this movie and sort of sitting with it as an adult a little bit longer, and a person who grew into an individual who enjoys movies and movie craft, I started having more of a respect for this film. But again, it's too long. There's too many goof ass scenes like that needed to be cut short. I'm never gonna defend the movie as it sits at its 156 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't agree with you, but that's fine.
That's fine, as long as we agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But then also I wanted to let anyone know who's, I don't know if people are sensitive, but I want to preface that we are about to talk about a little bit of drugs.
Oh, nice.
So,
all right.
So drugs are certainly going to come up in this segment. So if you're a person listening with a young child, or if you're a person who's sensitive to that material, pre-warned. It's not gonna take over everything, but I'm gonna touch on it multiple times.
Wow, we've never had a trigger warning on the show before.
I think it's reasonable.
I think it's reasonable too. I'm just that's where we are. I think it's great.
Okay. So I call this is why I prefaced it, because I called this segment Sea Shanties and Nose Candies.
It's just probably the best title you've come up with so far.
Thank you.
This is very clever. I would never have thought of that.
The most apt. To take it back a tiny bit, we won't spend a lot of time on it because this is about the movie. But Popeye the character, he was created by Elsie Chrysler Sager. I'm going to say Seeger, S-E-G-A-R, Seegar.
Yeah.
And they just call him E.C. Seeger. And the character first appeared in 1929 in a daily King feature comic strip called Thimble Theater. The Thimble Theater had a lot of different characters that it would appear in Popeye later, but it all kind of coalesced in this one strip that had multiple characters.
Cool.
In the strip was in its 10th year when Popeye made his debut. But the One-Eyed Sailor quickly became the lead character, and Thimble Theater became one of King Feature's most popular properties. And later, the Thimble Theater comic strip just became Popeye. It became that popular.
I just kind of rebranded.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. That's cool.
And so then all I want to say about a little bit more about Popeye, the brand, is that from the Thimble Theater, it was picked up by a couple of other people after Seeger's death in 1938. And it was redone it was continued on by his assistant, Bud Sagendorf, which I love these last names. These last names are wonderful. We're going to get into so many great last names. And then it continued on as a serial drawn and written by R.K. Milholland. And then it was in 1933 that Max Fleischer adopted the Thimble Theater character into the Popeye the Sailor Man cartoon series. And so that's sort of where it got rolling. Paramount Pictures started making Fleischer cartoons. And then that is sort of, I think, where a lot of us know Popeye from. Very few of us were reading those old comics, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I certainly never even went back and read them, even in my early teens or what have you. Like I just never, I'm a comic book reader, but it was like never interesting to me to go back and dive into his old.
Old stories. Yeah. Popeye was never that deep of a character for me. Like I didn't really care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I did that with some Peanuts cartoons. Like I went back and read the old Peanuts sometimes, but like I was never interested in really getting to know more about the lore of Popeye.
Yeah, I know. Why didn't he like spinach at the beginning? Why does it? Yeah, I don't care.
As far as the movie, Popeye premiered at the Mann's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles on December 6th, 1980, 2 days before it would have been E.C. Seeger's 86th birthday. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The film was then released theatrically for the rest of the world on December 12th, 1980 by Paramount Pictures in North America. And for its international release, the film was shortened to 92 minutes by Buena Vista International.
And that's our tie-in. Yeah.
Thank you. That's the one I want to find.
Yeah, I kind of want to also just to compare it. I would love to know what was cut.
Yeah, I guarantee we're going to have a difference between it's going to be a computer wore tennis shoes compared to now you see them, now you don't.
Probably. I don't know though. Like I tried to go, you know what? This movie is too long at 100 or at an hour 53 or whatever, including credits. What could you cut? I don't know. I mean, I do know. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I know exactly.
I'm just going to take back over the show and talk and then repeat my same. So go ahead.
It would gross $6.3 million its opening weekend and $49.8 million worldwide against a budget of $20 million.
Profitable.
So yeah, not bad.
No.
Now, the reviews themselves about the movie were mixed, but it certainly was by any standard considered profitable. I would say that. Like, but as far as like people watching it and believing that it was a good movie or a well-executed movie, I think that's up for debate.
Well, clearly, right?
Yeah. It was directed, surprisingly to me, by Robert Altman. which a lot of people would know from the original movie MASH, which is really good. Like the movie MASH that came out before the TV series is an excellent comedy. And he's known for doing a lot of black comedies. Shelley Duval was in like 6 of his movies. And he's a good director, but it's just not somebody that I would think of when I see the content of Popeye, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
He feels more of a down-to-earth, real storytelling kind of director. And then it was produced by Robert Cocaine Evans. His words, not mine. Do you remember Robert Evans? They made a cartoon of him. Like it was an Adult Swim style cartoon where it was a cartoon, but it was for adults. And it was, I can't remember the name of the TV show, but it was all about Robert Evans. Now is like a washed up producer.
No.
And it was pretty funny. Like I didn't know a lot about him when the show came out, but it was kind of funny to see. It was just like him as a character in like Hollywood, like trying to get his connections back, like telling funny stories about like fake funny stories about, the movies he'd worked on.
Sounds good.
It was cool. So some familiar faces in this movie. Obviously, Ray Walston, who played Poop Deck Pappy. Now, Ray Walston's been in so many things. Like he played a judge in the TV show Picket Fences that I really liked back in the day. He's been in tons of movies. He was in the Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He was in the movie The Sting. But I personally remember him, surprisingly, at how young I am compared to when the show came out. But I remember seeing him in My Favorite Martian. They would replay episodes of My Favorite Martian in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And that's where I actually first saw Ray Walston.
Nice.
But he's been in so many things. All of these people that I'm about to name, the reason I'm naming them is because they've just been in background bits and part characters and, front of the camera. I don't know how many of these guys have gotten like actual like starring roles.
Right.
But they're just the people where you go, oh, I know that guy. I know what that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So then, in that same vein, Paul Dooley played Wimpy. And I immediately recognized him as the dad from John Hughes' 16 Candles.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. And, he did such a good job as Wimpy. They really went for it. His costume was perfect.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. If you're halfway familiar with the cartoons at all, you see that character, because he's Wimpy before he's introduced as Wimpy.
Yeah. And then a guy that a lot of people won't know, but you see all over this movie, the guy who's kicking his hat down the street is Bill Irwin.
Yes. And he's one of those guys, he's all over the 80s, but I couldn't place where.
Yeah, no. And here's the funny thing. I didn't recognize him from the 80s. I'll tell you, his name in the movie is Ham Gravy, the old boyfriend.
The old boyfriend he was dating Olive Oil?
It's what his name is. He's credited as Ham Gravy, the old boyfriend.
Wow, dude. Is Bluto an upgrade or a downgrade?
The man can't catch his hat.
No, that's true, man. Yeah.
I would say probably an upgrade. I remembered him from the character Mr. Noodle from Elmo's World.
He's Mr. Noodle?
Yes. I recognize his face. Yeah.
Because I've looked that man up too before because I was like, this guy is like a professional. Mr. Noodle character is amazing.
Yes.
And not amazing. I shouldn't say that.
Well, because he wears the big mustache. And so it kind of covers a lot of his face.
Wow. And there's been a couple of Mr. Noodles.
Yeah. No, he was a long-standing one. He has lots of Elmo's World credits in like multiple things.
Mr. Noodle. All right.
But yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that though, because there's a movie called Scenes from the Mall, which I really like. It's Bette Midler and Woody Allen. And Bill Irwin plays a mime in that movie.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah. So then another one that was crazy to me was Spike, one of the toughs in the scene that was Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Cafe.
Yeah.
Right.
The Rough House.
Rough House's cafe.
Yeah.
So they're all giving Popeye shit. And I'm looking back there and I'm like, the guy with the mustache, I go, that's Dennis Franz. My wife was like, that can't be Dennis Franz. He'd be like 1,000,000 years old. Look how old he is in this movie. And I looked it up And it is in fact Dennis Franz. He's just looked that old forever.
Hell yeah, dude.
And
He's
so
never
anybody
aged.
who doesn't know, that guy, Dennis Franz, was on NYPD Blue for like a million years. And so it was really funny to see him in this movie and then see him in other scenes too. Like he's in the It's Me, I'm mean. He's just like a background singer in it.
Yeah.
So funny.
Nice.
The actress who plays Mrs. Oxheart, I will reference her as at the beginning, Popeye tries to help that old woman with her bag and she smacks him and he goes, blow me down.
Yeah.
So that woman, this is her first movie.
Oh, really?
And yes.
Because she looks pretty old in that.
I know.
Yeah. Good for her, man.
Yeah, this is her very first movie, her cinematic appearance debut. Later in her career, she starts looking exactly like Edna Mode, which is insane. Like I really feel like they almost based a little bit of Edna Mode off of not Helen Gurley Brown, but somebody else, and then also this lady. But she was in She-Devil, she was in Kindergarten Cop, Maverick, Dune. She was in
Dune. That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
Damn, dude. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, you can see this lady everywhere. She's great. And then I was looking it up, and it's such a strange connection. Paul L. Smith, who plays Bluto, also in Maverick and Dune.
Really?
Yeah. I know. I thought that was crazy. Then I didn't realize this, but if you ever see the movie Haunted Honeymoon, he's in that movie too. That is a great comedy, but it's got Gilda Radner in it. And it's got, what's his name from Willy Wonka?
I've seen it, but I don't
married Gilda Radner.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, it's about a guy who, again, what is the guy from Willy Wonka? You can cut out all this.
Gene Simmons.
Or no, Gene Hackman.
Gene Wilder. It's not Gene
Simmons.
Hackman.
You're right, Gene Simmons.
Yeah. He's like, it's a ghost, man. Haunted Honeymoon. That's right. With oh, come on. What's his stupid name? Dom DeLuise.
Yes, Dom DeLuise.
Yeah. Okay,
So this movie is fantastic. And it's a really cool movie. I would say check it out. That's just kind of some, people in the background that you may notice. They've said, hey, I've seen this guy in another movie. But let's move into the production of this movie. Paramount greenlit this film after losing a bidding war for the screen rights to Annie in 1980, which was made in 1982. So producer Robert Evans called an executive meeting and asked about comic strip characters that had the rights that could be used for a movie musical. And one of the attendees brought up Popeye. They basically just went combing for all sorts of stuff.
Which kind of makes sense because he has his own song anyway. It's like, that's already a good starting point.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. I mean, better than Beetle Bailey.
Well, that's true, right?
So the set for the small town of Sweet Haven was built at Anchor Bay in the Mediterranean islands of Malta, which is not Spain and is not Italy. Malta is its own country.
It's its own thing, yeah.
Yeah. And it still exists to this day and is a popular tourist destination.
I gotta go.
You can actually go to PopeyeMalta.com.
I'm going.
And check it out.
I'm going right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's there. It's not in grayscale, but it's there.
Oh, it has everything. Dude, you can do weddings here. Yeah.
Matt,
it's got
I need you to marry me in Sweet Haven, please.
Oh, Sweet Haven.
Oh my goodness.
Where we're married.
The Buena Vista boys will be inviting you. Yeah, there's a little more color. But
they've certainly touched it up. There's even like a play area now out in the back of the church. Like it almost looks like a McDonald's Playland play area. But yeah, there's a Popeye comic museum. There's the bakery, post office, and dentist.
They do
Robin Williams Shrine.
They do an Easter celebration there. Like this is why. Like this is a thing. It's funny because you bring up this movie and people either go, "What?" or "That movie's terrible." Go to Malta, brother. They have celebrations for the thing.
Oh, they're loving it in Malta.
Come on, man.
This is what one of the redeeming qualities of this movie to me is the fact that they did go so hard for Sweet Haven. And honestly, it's what sold the movie. The fact that they made it for real. And what I mean by made it for real is an international construction crew of 165 workers spent 7 months to construct this set. Tree trunk logs were driven across Europe and from the Netherlands, and wood shingles were imported all the way from Canada. 8 tons of nails, 2,000 gallons of paint were used to complete this set.
Jeez, dude.
When they finished, the fictional village of Sweethaven consisted of 19 buildings, including a hotel, schoolhouse, a store, a post office, a church, and a tavern.
That's wild, dude. You know what's funny is when they what I've been meaning to bring up, is it a town or is it a country or whatever? Because in the boxing ring, when they're doing the Max and Sons, the thing with the Oxblood or whatever, Oxheart. Someone's like, oh yeah, do you know the words to the song? And they're like, yeah, it's our national anthem. Why wouldn't I know it?
You're right. He does say national anthem, doesn't he?
Yeah, but before that, they mention it as like a town, right? I think in the first Sweethaven song, they talk about like their town. So I don't know. Is it like Malta, where it is a tiny little nation town, I guess?
It's
or
a nation
what?
state.
They have their own flag.
That's you were pointing that out to me earlier today. Like they have their own flag.
I need you to make that flag for me. I'm going to want to put on a shirt.
Okay.
I love it. God, I love it. I love everything about this movie.
You're crazy.
Thank you.
We'll do it in Buena Vista Studios font. Sweethaven. But yeah, it is crazy. And what's interesting to me is I never found anything about them shooting on a back lot or anything like that. So I have a feeling that at least the boarding house scenes were filmed inside the buildings that they made. Like that they built the buildings to film inside of them. I don't think that they went and shot on a back lot afterwards some of the internal scenes. I think they built everything out there and stayed out there.
I think you're right, which would make sense, right? If you're out there, you're out there. But the way that these scenes are shot, they're very close. They're very claustrophobic. And so maybe you probably have a couple of walls that are on rollers or you can pull away like a standard set house.
I assume that they definitely could alter those buildings as needed, but I don't think they did a thing where it's like, oh, well, we'll shoot the outside. Like, let's say Ghostbusters. They shoot the outside of the firehouse, but then all the actual firehouse internals are back in LA.
Exactly. Yeah.
We were talking about all the physical gags from the citizens, and I looked it up, and many of the citizens that don't really have any lines or aren't notable actors are all European circus performers.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, they were all brought in to do these physical gags because obviously we needed to build this cartoon environment. If you're going to have a movie where Popeye is being punched and spun through boards and all of these things, you have to preset the scene with really cartoonish rubber physical motions. Like, remember the guy trying to paint on the ladder going back and forth?
Yes.
And it was totally normal. Like, he wasn't like, oh, I know. It was like, this is how his ladder works. His ladder just goes back and forth and he's just adapted to it.
Yeah. And what was interesting to me is nobody was startled by the clumsiness of the rest of the town.
No, I noticed that too.
That's what happens.
I was pointing that out to somebody yesterday that the way these guys behave is this is just who they are.
Yep.
It's not weird the way they're behaving. This isn't normal life for them.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Speaking of the townspeople, the list of townspeople's names are pretty hilarious. And so I like that not only do they have names, a lot of these people have a hyphenated sort of designation.
Like a title.
Instance.
They got their honorary, their royalty.
Yeah. So we've already done Pappy Poop Deck, right? We've already done Ham Gravy. And so we have Bill Barnacle, the town drunk. And we have Harry Hot Cash, the gambler. We have Cherry, his mall. We have Oxblood, Oxheart, right? The fighter.
Right.
I like that we have to designate that he's the fighter.
Right.
We have Mrs. Oxheart, his mutter. Scoop, the reporter. Chiselflint, the pawnbroker.
Which I don't even see a pawnbroker. I didn't even
No. Well, a lot of these guys, it's sort of like that guy. I'll talk about him here in a minute. That guy, you see him in multiple scenes. I thought this was going to be a bigger payoff, but do you remember the guy with the huge bushy hair and the giant beard. And he's in the background of like every scene. He's clearly like kind of a homeless guy.
Yeah. The hermit.
I thought that was going to have a payoff.
Me too. There's a few guys, right? Like one, it's when Popeye lands and there's a guy trying to hide behind a light pole. I think maybe that was
what
the
was
press
that guy?
There was a guy with all the keys.
Yes.
These are just lunatics. But I guess, but I guess
the key guy, like he got put into the floorboards at the rough house.
Yeah.
But nothing useful happened with these guys.
But I guess it's just set dressing because like one thing I don't like in movies that have a long staying power, like franchise movies where they want to go back and give everybody a friggin' backstory. I guess I don't need all that, but I still want to know why this man has a bunch of keys on his jacket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need a whole movie about him, but I just want to know.
Or like see him using a key on something.
I know, right?
So I can just justify the key.
Sure. Yeah. Give me a 4-second gag.
Or like, what if every time he runs ahead of Popeye and opens a door for him?
Yeah, something.
He's the town door opener.
Now we want a busy movie to be busier.
Yes.
That's what we're asking for.
Well, they've gone this far.
Yeah.
So, no, I thought this is interesting. Chico the dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
Chico.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Why is he named Chico, I wonder?
That's what I'm questioning. And then Swifty the cook, Splats the janitor.
Okay.
I liked Slick the milkman and Rosie the milkmaid. Okay, here's the part that I like. Very justified for me. And when I read this, I was like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Most of Popeye's lines were discovered to be inaudible once filming wrapped. So Robin Williams had to redub much of his dialogue. And it shows.
It really does show. It is laughable. But, also, Popeye, his facial features are not normal. He's clenching the pipe in his teeth the whole time, so he can't open his mouth all the way. So I it's justifiable, but I wonder if Robin at the end of this was like, man, the sound guy, I'm going to beat that dude up. That sucks because I basically have to re-record the entire flick.
What I got to get out of my time is Yeah,
I loved it.
Okay. In a print interview released around the same time as the film, Shelley Duval admitted that children used to call her olive oil when she was in grade school.
Yeah.
And I love that came all the way back around for her.
That's very funny.
Right? Especially when you find out they wanted some other people to play olive oil. The fact that like it's still that still kind of came true.
Nice.
The many sunken ships in the harbor were actually seaworthy vessels that were either rented or bought and then sunk.
Imagine renting it. Are you guys going to be okay with it? Yes, we'll be fine. I'm going to sink your vessel.
We're going to rent this from you about $100 a day. It's going to be underwater about 80% of the time. Is that all right? So Shelley Duval said that making this movie was pure joy after the intense stress Stanley Kubrick caused her while she was making The Shining.
Oh, geez, dude.
Yeah, that in and of itself, that's like its own show, is just the fresh hell Stanley Kubrick put her through, because he wanted like really authentic reactions from her.
Yeah.
So he would make her do scenes over and over and over again, almost as like a punishment to like really get her rattled, like just really get her nerves up.
Yeah. Yeah. That set was insane, dude.
Yeah. Somebody should have been called.
Yeah, but right. Yeah.
So funny enough, Sweet Pea was actually played by Wesley Ivan Hurt, who was Robert Altman's grandson. A little nepotism there. No big deal.
The cutest child in the world. Did he do anything else after this?
Not that. No. I looked it up.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing of note.
That baby's too beautiful.
Yeah. He's selling insurance now.
Hell yeah, dude. I would buy insurance from this man.
So the makeup appliances for Robin Williams' fake forearms wasn't ready when filming began. So in early shots, Popeye wears a long sleeve raincoat to hide his normal sized arms.
Okay.
There's a funny bit that I think I have it in here about because they weren't ready as well. During some of the fighting scenes with Oxheart, you can see visibly that they put large pieces of flesh colored like rubber around his forearms
Yeah.
and held them on with rope. So when in some of the scenes, it's clearly visible. You can see the rope holding the rubber
I missed
around his
all
arms.
of that. That's crazy.
As did I. I didn't see that either, but apparently it's visible. The producer wanted the role of Olive Oyl to be played by Gilda Radner. However, Robert Altman held out for Shelley Duval, which Gilda Radner
would have been good, but I think she would have done too much comedy. I think Shelley Duval was the perfect cast because she is lanky and awkward and very tall. Gilda Radner wasn't that tall.
No.
So I think this is perfect. She would have been fine, but this is better.
Radner, yeah. Well, it's Gilda Radner, I think, would have done more yelling instead of going, oh dear. Like Shelley Duval has a great She would have been more Popeye.
Are you talking about her Yeah. Well, but in the cartoons, that's all Olive Oyl does. That's how she reacts to stuff anyway. So I think that was perfect. I think it was great.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. I think that's fine. But I also think that's Shelley Duval. Like when you see her in other things, she kind of has like a natural, like surprised face like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And so Gilda Radner, the multiple things that I've seen her in, she kind of has a smiling face where she pulls things flat. You know, and so her natural inclination would be to go Popeye, like instead of what Shelley Duval did, which I think was spot on, more natural.
Yeah.
After so many other directors had said no, Robert Altman said he wanted to make this film. He loved the screenplay and would not change a word. And so the person who wrote this, Jules Pfeiffer, said, I laughed when Robert Evans reported this to me. Evans, in reference to producer Robert Evans. I was friends with Altman and a fan. And as a fan, I knew what was coming. Altman didn't believe in scripts except as a necessary evil to get a film financed. He didn't much believe in words. He didn't care if you heard the dialogue or not. And he didn't believe in story.
So basically, Jules is saying like Robert Altman promised he wasn't going to touch a single thing, but he knew already that he was just going to do whatever he wanted to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love
it was just when we were on set, it was going to be a giant free for all. And I think that plays into a little bit of what we find out here at the end of my spiel.
Yeah.
So this is something funny. I didn't think about this. And I love it. So you're going through all the oil family, and clearly every single character has a bit for their name, right? Castor oil, olive oil, even coal oil kind of makes a weird little bit of sense. But then the mother is named Nana Oil. And you're like, okay, Nana, like mommy, you know, like Nana.
Right.
Right. Nana Oil is a play on a 1920s, 1930s comment, banana oil.
Huh. Okay.
Have you ever heard that term?
Nope.
I've heard that term.
Never.
And it never clicked to me. Yeah. Banana oil is something that you say when you express disbelief. Like, yeah, right. Banana oil.
That's funny.
I love it. So they found one. They found one for everybody. So at the beginning of this movie, we didn't talk about the opening of this movie where it's a black and white cartoon with Popeye coming out. And he's like, hey, I'm in the wrong movie.
Yeah.
And that was voiced by the original Popeye voice, Jack Mercer. And he had come out of a limited amount of retirement just to do that bit.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
This also is interesting to me because we talked about how Sweet Pea had started like doing this weird whistling. Yes. Like it was such a weird part of this movie where it's like you have this baby who can tell the future. What?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, it was weird, dude. Yeah.
So the reason partially that may be in the script, besides like kind of giving, the storyline something to do. Jules Pfeiffer, when he originally wrote the screenplay for this, put in Popeye's magical pet, Eugene the Jeep. Does anybody remember Eugene the Jeep?
No.
He's like a round yellow dog creature, but he's not a dog.
Okay.
And I remember this character, and it has these weird kind of magical powers.
All right.
And so originally the Jeep was going to be in this movie, but then after that, like they kind of figured out, well, how are we going to do the Jeep? we're not going to do that.
Right.
But then he kind of just moved those powers along to Sweet Pea.
Huh.
So he kept the magic, but he put it into Sweet Pea instead.
All right. I mean, look, that makes sense. You got to give a nod to the cartoon, right?
Yeah. During a 1980 interview with Roger Ebert, Shelley Duval said she loved playing Olive Oyl, not just because she enjoyed working on the film, but because Olive Oyl is such a strong character. I've never before been allowed to play a woman of any strength or depth. I can attest to that, actually. And although Olive Oyl is a cartoon character, I think she does have depth. All of the other characters I've played in movies, to me, they've never really broke the surface, but Olive Oyl is 100% woman. She's not Popeye's girlfriend. I see her as a real femme fatale.
I think that's a stretch, but yeah, okay, good for her, man. She's, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, really made it her own. This is the first film released by Disney in which the word shit is heard.
That's right, dude. Yeah.
Said by Popeye during his huge fight with Bluto.
Barely. It was kind of, if you blink, you miss it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And this was, and I believe we established that this was a Paramount Pictures Disney coordination. So
yeah,
there might have been a little bit of influence to be a little bit more adult, But the reason this is interesting is because Disney did not start Touchstone Pictures until later in the 80s. So normally they would put the adult language in those movies. And then around 1977, Robert Evans had wanted Dustin Hoffman to play Popeye.
No.
Lily Tomlin to play Olive Oyl.
What?
And John Schlesinger to direct.
Let me think about that. That would have been different, but not better.
Well, Lily Tomlin, I think, would have certainly given a run for the Shelley Duvall's money.
Agreed.
But,
yes, agreed.
I do not see Dustin Hoffman having enough humility to do some of the bits that Robin Williams was comfortable with doing.
Yeah, for me, it's the energy. Because Robin had that energy. He had that. We all know where that energy came from, but he was also completely messed up in the head, right? So he had that animalistic kind of thing to attack the scene and just be whatever comes out of his mouth is what's happening.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman is definitely more reserved. I don't think he would have been as electric. If I could say that.
Because I think one of the most animated I've ever seen him was in Dick Tracy when he played Mumbles.
Yeah. It's Big Boy Dad. Big Boy Dad.
So it's it would be hard for me to see him sustaining a character that long. Even in Rain Man. Rain Man was a really good movie. He's very brilliant in that. But it's he still was very low energy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, to try to see him as a sailor man.
No.
It's a little weird. The Rough House Roughnecks, Spike, Mort, Gozo, Bolo, Slug, and Butch are all named after various thugs Popeye encountered and defeated in the Thimble Theater comic strip.
Cute.
Oh, one of the storefronts in Sweet Haven reads, O.G. Whataschnauzel. Professor O.G. Whataschnauzel was a character who appeared in the Thimble Theater comic strip, Zappo.
Nice.
During the song Everything is Food at the Rough House Cafe, a bearded man is reading a newspaper with a Popeye comic strip on the back. And I thought that was the case, but it was so hard to see.
Yeah.
In the version that I was watching it from Pluto TV, and it's not hyper 4K. So I couldn't tell, but I was I bet that's a Popeye comic strip back there. The town drunk is named Barnacle Bill after a 19th century drinking song, Barnacle Bill the Sailor.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah. There was a Popeye cartoon episode named Beware Barnacle Bill, 1935.
I love it. That's cool.
In the original vinyl soundtrack, it contains a song that never appeared in the final film. The song Din We. Bill Barnacle Lament.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Didn't we?
Didn't we?
DIN''we. Bill Barnacle Lament, sung by actor Robert Ortier, was never heard or seen. So where this fit in the film is unknown.
Okay.
Sounds great, guys.
Yeah.
The church that is seen atop Sweet Haven is actually a facade to cover up an actual World War II pillbox.
Cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right? Screenwriter Jules Pfeiffer asserted that while Dustin Hoffman was attached to the project, he tried to get Robert Evans to fire Pfeiffer. But even though he was good friends with the actor, the producer refused. This is not done in Hollywood, Pfeiffer writes, knowing the project would lose its financing as soon as Hoffman stepped away.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. This is one of those things where I'm like, are you saying that to make it sound like you're more important than you are?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's probably a little bit of truth in that as well, where this person's experience is probably like, oh, you don't, you're going to lose funding if you lose your big name. So don't do it. And they're like, oh, whatever, dude, who cares? So sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, I think.
I'm pretty sure Robert Cocaine Evans was like, I'm getting rid of him. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Screw Hoffman. We'll get better. Oxblood Oxheart was taken from the original comic strip where he first appeared as Bullo Oxheart with a full beard and a head of hair.
Nice.
In the strip, he is depicted as a brute in appearance, similar to Bluto himself, save for being clean shaven.
Okay. Change it up a little bit.
Yeah, sure. In the Sweet Haven anthem, the first few notes of the Star Spangled Banner were used for the song.
That's cool.
Which I totally thought.
All right.
Like I actually thought that. Like when he started, it's like bum 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 bum.
Oh yeah,
and then
for sure,
then they move on to like, and I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Klaus Vormann played the conductor. He was the bassist for Manfred Mann, and he used to room with the Beatles, and won a Grammy for designing the cover of the Beatles' Revolver album.
Isn't that wild?
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, there's 2 scenes where there's a conductor. Actually, it's 3, but 2 where he's actually conducting, and I was like, wow,
yeah,
that's funny.
It's funny because like he and the, I didn't say this during the main part of the movie, but he and the taxman.
Yeah.
Whenever I watch when I watch this movie, immediately I thought of Dr. Seuss. Like,
yes,
if you do like what is it? The Things That I Saw on Mulberry Street.
Mm-hmm.
These characters look like they're plucked right out of that book.
Yeah, they're
it's
a little
crazy
wild. Yeah.
how similar they look. Roberta Maxwell, who portrayed Nana Oil, is only 7 years older than Shelley Duval, who plays her daughter.
They did try to old her up a little bit, but she looks too smooth skinned for sure.
Yeah.
But,
They just gave her that big, thick gray wig and said, here, you're
and
old
that's
now.
it. But you know what? And it's one of those things where you clock easily, but you ignore because you have
You're like,
to.
Absolutely. Okay. So this is the portion that I'm going to get to that is why we called this nose candies. So it is well known because I mentioned this to my friend that we were going to cover this movie. And he immediately goes, man, do you know how much cocaine they were doing on that set?
Yeah, because this all just came out. This is an article a couple months ago.
I know. And I did not know it was sort of like more so ubiquitously known. Like I certainly didn't know this as a child. And this is sort of coming to light for me now. And so I'll go through some of the details that were put in an article for page 6, May 23rd, 2025.
Do it.
The set of the 1980s kids hit Popeye was knee deep in cocaine, according to movie mogul Barry Diller.
There you go, man.
You couldn't escape it. Diller, who was CEO of its studio, Paramount Pictures, during its heyday, Raiders, Grease, Saturday Night Fever. Film cans would be sent back to LA daily for processing of film. And we found out The film cans were actually being used to ship cocaine back and forth to the set, he said. Everyone was stoned.
I love that so much, dude. That is so good. That is such an 80s thing, dude.
Yes.
I love that.
Because it's like, was that getting around customs somehow that way, I guess?
Probably.
Yeah, we're sending him film, man. It's fine. Diller says viewers may actually be able to see the effects on screen. Think of vinyl record speed, he told the audience, adding that if 33 RPMs is the standard speed for playing LPs on a record player, this is a movie that runs at 78 RPMs. I can think of a few moments very specific, like,
oh yeah,
like I pointed out, like in the I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just put in the song. Don't have me singing.
No.
That lady who is chewing gum, who is just jerked to the gills.
She could, yeah, definitely that could have been for sure.
She is absolutely just chewing that gum, clenching her teeth. Evans, I'm going to leave you with this. Evans, Robert Evans, who also did the movie Godfather and Chinatown, huge producer, was arrested for unrelated cocaine trafficking while the flick was in post-production.
Yeah, I mean, he would know.
But
right?
I have one subset story that I didn't add specifically in my notes, but because I just remembered it.
Okay.
There was a gentleman who said he was on set at the time. I think he worked on as a production crew, and he remembers going to put batteries in a walkie-talkie, and he opens the back case and it's filled with cocaine. And he pulled it out, and then he became a set darling that day because he'd found more cocaine.
Everyone loves the guy at the party who at 2 a.m. goes, wait a minute, I know where we can get more and keep the party rolling. Like,
he remembers everyone around him that day distinctly being much more enthusiastic about him because he'd found more.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
God, what a
well, that sounds like a fun set to be a part of, regardless.
Yeah.
You know, drugs or not. I feel like everyone's happy.
And
you know,
to the finish.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see Robin Williams doing that. I don't know. I sometimes I look, you know, in scenes of with good acting or at least a good moment or, you know, whatever, and I'll look at the extras and I'll think that, God, to be witness to this scene happening right now would have been awesome. And I feel like that through this whole movie with Robin Williams. It's too bad that it wasn't a bigger hit than I think it deserves to be, personally.
Yeah.
So if you've never seen this movie, I highly recommend watching it. It's a great flick. You check it out. Don't worry. You just go into it thinking it's a IRL comic book movie, and you'll be fine. Just have some fun with it. It's great. And then go on Rotten Tomatoes and rate it. I can't figure out how to rate anything on Rotten Tomatoes, but like nobody likes it on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like 39%. This movie does not deserve that. This movie deserves 80%. This is a great movie. I loved it.
I'm going to tell you, it's far better than Watcher in the Woods.
That's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So how did we do? Did we change your mind at all, Matt?
For me?
Yeah, for you specifically.
Yeah. I would say now at the end of this, after talking it through, with the amount of word gags and sight gags, there's something I caught the other day that I just loved where they're cutting to a scene and you hear this woman says, "Put out the cat, darling." And he just goes, "We don't have a cat." It's like that alone.
There's so many one-liners in this, dude.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
So yeah, I would say between all the callbacks, the sight gags, everything, ultimately I have been swayed. And I would say I find this movie far more favorable and would recommend it than before I watched it again. So yeah, ultimately you should watch this movie, even if it's just to witness a piece of history.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. You know what I think we should do maybe for like our Patreon folks is watch that horror movie, Popeye the Slayer, man. Have you seen that yet?
Oh, I haven't seen that movie.
Neither
but
have
I've seen the
I want to see
preview
it. There's already like a sequel out or whatever. It's supposedly not good.
That sounds amazing.
It's 3.5 stars out of 10 on IMDb. Like it's
Winnie
not
the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yeah, which I've never seen, but I think that might be a fun tie-in. But so maybe we'll do that. I don't know. If you want to support the show, you guys go to patreon.com/earsup. That's ears with a Z, and that supports all the shows across all the networks. That supports all the shows across the entire Ears Up podcast network that we have that are more Disney parks related. Than these kind of Disney movies have been. So anyway, thank you very much for listening to the show. I really do appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, spread the word. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with a couple friends and force them to listen to it. Tie them down like Bluto did to Poop Deck Poppy, which sounds like what you should call Drake now. And make them listen to these shows. We really do appreciate it. For everything else, there's a website. Go to earsup-podcast.com. And Matt, where can people learn more about your podcast?
Oh, well, my adorable face can be found at shelter.from.oblivion on Instagram and Facebook. My friend Andy and I run a show called Shelter from Oblivion, and we got some great stuff there, some pop culture bits, and we would love to have you over there. It's a fun time. We have an AI assistant that yells at us and says cruel things, and we just take it. And I thank you so much, everyone, for coming and listening to this show. This was a hoot.
Nice. Yeah, it was a good time, and I loved it. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Ahoy.
Your name really Olives?
So what?
Olives oil? You don't look Greek.